So ask and you shall receive. Last week, I took a poll on my YouTube community tab, and I pretty much asked you guys, would it be helpful for me to pretty much start a Silhouette Cameo 4 series? And what that means is that I am going to create dedicated videos on teaching you how to use your Silhouette Cameo and your Silhouette Studio. What is up, Define Squad? Welcome, and welcome back. If you are not new here, it's your girl Alex at Defined by Alex, where we are defining our lives and building our dreams in that order. I hope you guys are staying safe and you are well out there, and thank you for tuning in. Okay, so let's get back to this poll. To my surprise, a lot of y'all voted in favor of this series. And also, shout out to my subscriber. I recently had a t-shirt consultation call with her, and she also asked if I had something in the works to where I would pretty much break down how to use your Silhouette Cameo Studio, which is, if you guys did not know, it is the built-in studio design space, as you will, that comes with your Silhouette Cameo 4. So a lot of you guys have been curious on how do I make my designs, and you guys have asked me a lot of times, and I use my Silhouette Studio, you guys, a lot of the times when it comes to designing t-shirts, okay? So I've started this series to really help you guys bridge the gap in understanding how to use your Silhouette Studio, get very familiar with it, and then just have your business take off, because now you have it all at your fingertips, okay? But I need you guys to do me a huge favor. I need you guys to help me get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of 2021, you guys. I myself have some personal goals and business goals that I do want to achieve, and I feel really confident that you guys can help me get there, okay? So if you guys have been liking my videos so far, if you guys think that they can help other people who are wanting to start their t-shirt business, then can you please share, comment, and like all those cute things so that the algorithm can push me in front of people so I can help more folks, okay? Cool, let's get back into it. So now, starting this series, I'm going to take you guys through dedicated videos to really help you understand your Silhouette Studio from the beginning, basic, friendly level, to feeling more so like intermediate, mid-level experience, you guys. And let me just say this does not require any graphic design skills. So yes, that means that you can go purchase a Silhouette Cameo 4 or 4 Plus, whatever you want to buy, today. You can install it today, and you can start using it today, okay? So I'm going to switch over to my computer, and we're going to get started with the first episode in this series. Let's go. Okay, friends, so we are now in what's called the Silhouette Studio design space, okay? So basically, when you get your Cameo, this right here, this design space that you guys see me in, comes with your Cameo for free. It is included, and that way it helps you kind of leverage cutting your designs, making them, okay, all in one fashion. So as you guys can see here, I have a blank canvas. Before I get started though, I just wanted to explain what you guys are seeing here versus what you may see on your own if you are following along, okay? So I just happened to change my background, you guys. That does not change anything as far as following along or being able to do anything. I just simply didn't want the gray background, and so I changed it to white, okay? But in this particular episode, getting started with the basics, I am going to pretty much show you guys how to navigate in your Silhouette Studio and what to find, So I know that oftentimes when we're starting something, we're looking for something, we got to play around, okay? Because we have to pretty much look for what we want, look for what we are trying to use, and things like that. And so I'm going to go ahead and start over here in the left-hand side and just pretty much do what I call hover to discover. So as you guys can see here, my cursor is already active. That's my select icon. Below here, I just have my edit points, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. I can draw some cool shapes using my line tools and things like that. I have more drawing tools that draw more like of the standard shape. So your rectangle, oval, all that stuff, cool beans. And then if I wanted to do some free-handed work, I can do that as well. My text, which is probably the most common icon on this left-hand side for me, is my text. If I wanted to add a note, I can. I can erase too if I just wanted to erase something I don't want anymore. And I have this cool little knife tool, which is kind of interesting. I rarely use it, to be honest, but again, I'm just showing you guys what these are. You don't have to use any of them. This is just for you to use at your own creative will, your own creative leisure. And so I'm going to go ahead and pretty much start with the very basic, which typically is the text. A lot of times people come in here because they want to have a text, they want to create something and write something. And so as you guys can see, I selected my text tool. And now when I come in, my cursor has changed because I'm about to start texting and typing or whatever. And if I click in my canvas, or pretty much my cutting sheet, this is my cutting space that you guys see here, I can just go ahead and start typing the word, let's just say learn. Okay. So I have learn. I'm trying to have capitalized. One second. All right, so I have the word learn, and so now I'm going to click on this, and you guys see I have my cursor here. I'm just going to make that bigger. Okay, boom. So that's how you pretty much start with adding the text to your design space, to your cutting mat space, all that good stuff. But let me point out something real quick. So as you guys can see here, for my administrative tools up here, you guys, these are pretty standard. You can open up a new drawing, you can open up something from your folders, you can save, you can print. All these things I feel like are self-explanatory, okay? But if you guys notice how I really don't have much in this second bar, and that's because nothing is selected in my cutting mat space. So for me to have more icons active, I have to select my text right here. And then as you can see, I have options to do a little bit more with it. I can fill in my text. So this right now is showing that there's no fill. That's what this really means. But if I wanted to make it, let's just say this kind of like, what is this? Like a magenta or something, I can. And that way the text is filled in. I'm making it bigger so you guys can see, especially if you're watching it on your phone. I understand sometimes the screen can be really tiny, but as you guys can see, that is pretty much how you go from starting adding your text to your cutting mat space and just going from there. Now, if you want it to be a little bit more fancier, you can also go ahead and have a different outline. Okay, so let's just do black. And although you can't see it, I can zoom in. Now, by doing that, I'm going to go up here to kind of like my top bar. And if I just click on the plus sign, that zooms in for me. I wanted to zoom in even more. It zooms in for us all the way, okay? If I wanted to kind of like just navigate, I'm just using my mouse, you guys, and just going to the top where I see the entire word. If you wanted the black outline to be more bold, you have choices to do that. So you can change the style of it for one. But if you wanted to make the point more thicker, then you go here in this box right next to the PT for point. And you can go ahead and highlight and make it a different, number if you want. Or you can also use the arrows, okay? So as you guys can see here, now I've taken my design from a very simple text-based design to a text design that offers, that offers more, complexity. So now I have a bold outline. I've increased it. I've made it bigger. Now, if I zoom back out, you guys can see how it just looks more appealing and you can see it better. Okay. So that's pretty much starting off on the left-hand side when opening up your Silhouette Studio. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the middle section, which is what is called the cutting mat, and pretty much where all of your designs will be housed. Okay. Now, when it comes to the Silhouette Studio, it is super smart. The technology is super smart. which means it's basically saying anything inside of this cutting mat is free game and will be cut. Obviously, if something exists, okay, so it has to exist first. But if you have a design here and it's inside the cutting mat, it's going to cut it, okay? If your design is like this, that's not good. Also, it just doesn't look right, okay? So you want to make sure that your design is inside the cutting mat space. And also, I'm going to zoom in again just to show you guys what's important to look out here. What's important to note that you want to keep your design inside all of the white space. You do not want to have anything close to this line, you guys, okay? Now you see how my L is really close to this red line? You don't want that. You want everything to have pretty much a fair amount of space, I should say, when designing, because you may have issues when it comes to cutting your design, okay? Cool. Pretty sure you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Again, this is very basic. So if you need to pause, rewind, all this stuff, you guys feel free. Okay. This is a video. This is meant for you to have for a long period of time. So feel free to pause and pick it up and again, rewind if you guys need to really understand something that I've said. So pretty much did that. I have my text to just kind of go more into this middle section, which is the cutting mat side. I'm going to go over here to my right hand side and show you guys more of what is involved with this cutting mat and what you guys see. So when I go over here to open my page setup panel, that's going to give me a totally different screen. And what this page setup panel here is, basically it's controlling a lot of the functionalities of this page that we're in. Not the entire studio page, you guys. This page set up for the cutting mat, okay? So going back to how this Silhouette software is super smart. So when it comes to knowing what to do, it's important to just know what you're looking at. So let's just start from the top. So right here, the page setup, it's just the screen that we have now. So that's the active icon. If you need to see things in a more like symmetrical view, if you're just like that, I totally get it. You can activate grid lines. And what that does is when I click on the grid settings and I select show grid, now what you guys see are pretty much tiny little grid spaces. Just for you, for those of you, again, who just like to see things in a symmetrical view, who likes to see things in lines. You see how I'm kind of like adjusting my letters and it's like kind of like fitting within these grid lines. This is for you, okay? You don't have to use this. You know, it's totally up to your style of learning and your style of executing, but it's there if you want to use it. I'm going to unselect that because I don't use that as often. This last icon is your registration marks. As you can see, it defaults to off, so you're not seeing them right now. So if you're wondering like, oh, where are my registration marks? Just pay attention because registration marks are not always going to be present. You have to manually add them. So I'm going to select on for my registration marks. And now as you guys can see, I have some interesting features. So let me go ahead and zoom in and show you guys what that really means. So the registration marks in the Silhouette Studio pretty much means that when it comes to having like graphics, and I'll have a video on this too, you guys, that I will add in this particular section so that you can go ahead and click on that card to have a better understanding of your registration marks and if you want to use, you know, that particular feature. But as far as what they mean, just from this point of view, it just means that the Silhouette Cameo has these markers that it reads when it comes to designing. And if you are looking to kind of like go beyond typography, which is what you guys see here, which is the letters, and you want to use more like graphic and visual art, then you 9 times out of 10 will use registration marks to, you know, create a t-shirt. Okay. But just wanted to show you what they are and to also keep in mind, which is very important, kind of going back to the borders and where your design should be housed. I want to make it, you know, very clear that you also don't want your design outside of this area, okay? So again, number one, this doesn't look right, but again, you want to make sure that everything is in this design space, in particular to the registration marks, if that's what you're using at the time. So I'm going to go ahead and click those back off because this video in particular, this episode is not about registration marks. But again, I'm just here to show you guys just some features. I'm going to minimize this and I'm going to go back to my normal page setup. So let's go down to the design area setup, which is what you guys see me using currently. So for my machine, the default is at Cameo 4 because that's what I have. And so for my cutting mat, number 2 right here, this is the cutting mat. Now, if you've got a Silhouette Cameo 4, most likely you got a cutting mat as well, or you had to order it separately. But long story short, it is a very important piece when it comes to cutting your vinyl and using that because the Silhouette Cameo needs that to cut vinyl. Okay, not all the time, but the majority of the time, you will need your cutting mat to cut your designs, okay? So this is what this is. So when you guys see this arrow, this is basically saying like, this is the direction you have to load your cutting mat into your Silhouette Cameo. Now that's important because you just want to make sure you're following everything so that way your designs come out perfectly the way they need to, okay? So when it comes to my cutting mat, again, it's going to say auto because it's going to default to what it is. This is a Silhouette Cameo 4 I'm using. So I'm not using anything other than the features for the Cameo. I don't have a portrait machine, so I'm not going to select portrait. I don't even know what the stamp is, so I'm not going to select that, nor do I know what the pick scan Cameo is, okay? I'm only using what I know, and that's auto Cameo. Perfect. Going down to number 3, the media size. Media size is always going to be 12 by 12. So 12 across and 12 down. Okay. So that's how you know dimensions are going to be pretty fairly even when it comes to your design space. Also keep in mind that they let you know how big something can be on your shirt. So if you're ever wondering how big is this design going to be on a small shirt versus a medium shirt versus extra large 2XL, just take a ruler and, use a blank shirt. Just imagine this real quick, you guys. Take a blank shirt and use a ruler and have the same dimensions so that way you know what the design is going to look like and how big it's going to look for each size of the shirt, okay? I will say that a lot of people think that you're going to get the same design size on different size shirts. That's not the case. What this is standard. But if you have a bigger t-shirt, you got to keep in mind, okay, well, the design might be a little bit smaller because the t-shirt itself is bigger. Again, I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down because I really want you to understand this and how it's going to be applicable to you designing your t-shirts. Okay, so moving on. When it comes to the width, if you want to change your width as far as like your space, you can do that. What that's going to do is pretty much alter this screen right here. So let's just say everything is 12 by 12, right? However, let's just say I want something to be 8.5. Let me show you what that's going to do. So now you guys can see that pretty much my page setup has changed to 8.5. But, and let me zoom in, what you guys see behind that are pretty much still the cutting mat's features. So this is what the cutting mat truly looks like, y'all. What the Silhouette Studio does is give you that visualization of what a piece of vinyl or a piece of material, whatever HTV you're using, will look like on the cutting mat. However, if you just want to see what something or what the cutting mat looks like, not with vinyl, all you have to do is adjust your width. And you can just see, so this is what the cutting mat looks like, okay? And this is, let's just say, pretend this is vinyl. That's it. I'm going to change this back to 12. Now we see that it's pretty much covered back up. Same thing with height. If I wanted to change the height to something, I could. And that just, cuts that off in the height dimensions, okay? Now, if you just are someone like me and you use a lot of scrap vinyl because you just like to save material, I get it, stretch your dollar, then you might adjust your width and your height because you're not going to always need a 12 by 12 piece of vinyl each and every time. And that's okay, all right? Because that's why it's flexible in your Silhouette Studio to do that. You can make all the changes you want and just, keep it moving. So I'm going to go ahead and press 12 or type 12 and everything is back to normal. Okay. So I'm going to stop right here, you guys, because at this point, this is pretty much the basics in understanding the Silhouette Studio, navigating it, how to find text, how to hover to discover. I'm going to jump into the rest of these icons for the continuation of this series. But as at this point, you guys, this is the end of this video, the end of this episode with learning the basics of your Silhouette Studio. All right, good people. So that concludes today's episode on the start of the Silhouette Cameo series. As a reminder, if you guys are looking for more, help outside of my videos, I do offer t-shirt consultation calls, you guys. So feel free to check out the link below. Set up a call with me so that way we can get you right, okay? It's just gonna be you and me, and we're gonna have nothing but undivided attention to get you started in the right direction. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, let me know what you think, and also connect with me on social media because I love talking to y'all. But as always, friends, don't forget to drink your water, mind your business, and always choose yourself first, okay? And I will catch you in my next video. Bye, y'all.